All right, so Henning has been found. He has been standing with me all along here. And coincidentally, he will be the next presenter who will be coming up to present. So Henning represents Fehrmann MaterialsX today, and Fehrmann MaterialsX leverage on AI-powered technology to expedite the development of high-performance aluminum alloy for casting, extrusion, and 3D printing. The innovative solution, MatchGPT, significantly reduces alloy development, and in collaboration with leading research institutes, Fehrmann MaterialsX aims to increase project efficiency and sustainability through their cutting-edge materials and technology. So without further ado, let me hand over the time to Chairman and CEO of Fehrmann MaterialsX, Henning Fehrmann.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Hopefully everybody got a coffee. I'm Henning. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Fehrmann MaterialsX. All we can touch, whether it's a mobile or whatever, is made of materials. And materials is actually key to innovation. You can follow a couple of statistics about it. We could solve core fusion if we had the right materials. We could even settle on Mars or even fly with hydrogen. Or what we currently still need to do, reduce the carbon footprint or even reduce cost or increase resilience. All this could be achieved with the right materials. But why don't we do it? Because materials development is really, really expensive. It's actually not a business case because it takes too long and it is too risky. And just to give you some numbers of that gives you the room for new materials. 10 times 3 is the number that's for 1,000 metallic materials are currently used on industrial scale, while we have a room of 10 times 78. So this is a 1 with 78 zeros. The universe had 10 times 66 atoms, just to compare a bit. So we've been developing materials for decades, and we've seen that even game-changer metals and game-changer materials have been brought to speed this process up. And therefore, we decided to build an AI-powered materials innovation platform that consists of 3 modules. Number 1 is module 1, MatchGPT. It's a model, easily said and seen, built on generative AI that gives you profound answers, expert-level answers actually, on your questions in a B2B context within seconds. It runs for 1 year now without hallucinations, without anything wrong. Even comprehensive answers, even complex answers are precisely answered. Module 2 is what we all know. It's about machine learning models. It's a bunch of machine learning models from atomistic scale to macro scale. We even put Gen AI in. We don't believe that Gen AI can replace everything, but we believe in a hybrid approach. But we can talk about that later, not within the 5 minutes, if you like. And of course, every material needs to be validated. So we can't do all this in software, even we would like to. And I think if we get into a car, in a plane, or if we put our kids there, I think we want to trust that the material holds what it promises. So therefore, we've built an ultra-fast validation process within our ecosystem, within our own back office facilities to validate the best materials within days, maybe a few weeks. Just to give you an example about the values. Everybody builds GPTs, we know that, and the main value is gaining productivity. But we don't build a GPT, we build a content-based GPT that gives you good content, that provides you productivity on each level of your value chain. Whether a salesperson wants to get an instant answer on the technical question, material-related question of its customer, or whether the quality assurer wants to know whether this is within the tolerances or not. With MatchGPT, everybody in this value chain can answer their own technical questions within seconds and don't have to rely and wait for the rare technical experts that are usually not available. After, and that's what I believe, when we've all gained and realized the productivity potentials with Gen AI, we're going to step up to the next, which means accelerating innovation. And as we come from innovation, that's actually our playground. So here's an example that shows you in practice. It's a real example what we can achieve with this. A German automotive OEM, premium automotive OEM, has asked for an urgent need for a new aluminum alloy to prevent corrosion in a certain part. Usually it takes 5 years. Where's the pointer? Here. It takes 5 years. With us, it took 4 weeks, even within validation. our go-to-market strategy is we've gained the first revenues. We want to win more revenues, being 6-digit this year, multiplying next year. We have 3 main topics. We are established in Boston. We are established in Germany, of course, where our headquarters is, and in Singapore. We rely, and that's the reason why the company is called Fehrmann MaterialsX, because we rely on our family business with a huge customer base that you can see on the right side. And last but not least, our team is dedicated experts. We get 50 applications per job offer because we do the greatest shit, we all say. And therefore, it's expanding each month, let me say. And here we want to build up a great R&D team in Singapore. Coming to the financials, we have 2 revenue streams. It's SaaS, getting later on to a platform licenses, and we get revenues from our IP. And last but not least, we aim funding for 8 million Singapore dollars, convertible loans or equity investment. We put it in sales, communication, ecosystem, and product development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now the time over to the judges for the questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Super interesting. Can you tell us more about the LLM part, the data side of things, and then the corollary to that, which is the IP?
Yeah. So MagicPD is what I said in module 1. So it's simply a knowledge tool. So we don't use generative AI to create and develop new materials. We see quite some cool approaches, but we don't believe that's so sustainable, and that shows all parts of it. So therefore, we use MagicPD as a knowledge tool. And this is why we see that MagicPD simply answers questions. So if you start with the development, you usually have research, state-of-the-art freedom to operate, and this needs usually a couple of weeks. So we do it with 1 click. But besides that, and that turned out during our product market phase, that most of the companies want simply answers, instant answers on their technical questions. This is build agnostic. So it's a large language model we currently use. We rely mostly on OpenAI, built in the Azure cloud, so it's GDPR compliant. And we see that Microsoft currently has the best offer on putting together Azure OpenAI on the Azure cloud. However, we are agnostic, so we can deploy it on AWS. We have an API, so we can even put it to enterprise software solutions, and it's a rack-based, fine-tuned LLM. And of course, we go on, actually every day to keep up the crazy race and speed to be at the front and even extend it and make it better. I believe, of course, in this agentic approach, I think it's nothing new, and we have to see what kind of LLMs we need and what kind of even correctors and gatekeepers or even correctors and checkups we need, whether it's LLM based or whether it's foundation model based or whether it's even machine learning based. So we're not ideologic in this direction of that, but we combine both approaches. Yeah. Maybe one further wording on the content. As far as I've heard, a couple of honorary positions in material science. 2027, it's mainly said that most large language models are going to be trained with every knowledge available. So we'll see definitely in certain directions more specific LLMs and so on. So I'm not an LLM expert, so please don't challenge me too much with this. But I strongly believe that the companies who have the content, they're going to win. So, and there's a lot about critics about Europe, which are okay, which some are not, but we still have so much knowledge about our ecosystem that we simply grab the knowledge and feed it in exclusively into our MagicPD framework, like magnesium for biocompatible implants. We have built up a database exclusively for us, and so we are go on, even on the back side, on the content side of this Materials Innovation Platform.
Quick question. For the German OEM manufacturing project, for the new alloy, is any of that patentable, or do you get to keep any of the IP from that, or how's that work? Yes,
in that case, it was patentable, and after 2.5 weeks, we applied for the patent. We are currently working on automating patent applications. Not so easy. You would think everything's text-based, but you're building precise claims, working with a university on that, but that's just a side info. But there are some which we find. We've another example for a semiconductor company who needs a certain material that has a certain expansion coefficient and a certain conductivity, and that's 3D printable. And this, we found a solution which is not patentable, and we said, therefore, we can't release it before we file for a license agreement. That's currently the phase we're in.
Hi, I have several questions. So are you using the platform for discovery or development, or both? So that's one question. The second is, how are you making the, I'll say, the validation of the novel materials in a high throughput fashion? Because, you know, if you have all of the great AI accelerating discovery, then you still need ground truth physics, right? Engineering. So how do you make that part high throughput? And then the last question is on competition. I mean, there have been a number of AI-enabled materials discovery companies, Qarbotech, Citrine. Like, how do you stack up against them?
Yeah, thank you very much. All of them very profound questions. So you know a bit about it. So first of all, as I said, of course, we seek of using as much Gen AI even for development of new materials, and we see some good results. Shall I answer that? Because we got the red one, just quickly. We don't trust yet to fully rely on that, but we see, and it's a great discussion even between experts, how much we're going to replace machine learning models in traditional AI, or even how much we need to go to deep learning, things like that. I won't say anything about it as long as we know both sides. Second is, the second question was
around validation. High throughput validation.
Yeah, high throughput validation. Yeah, actually, it's not that I have such a big ego that I called my name on that, but because it relies on a more than 100 years family business, which always has been pioneering. So I'm fifth generation entrepreneur, and we are a clear member of the German production ecosystem. So within 1 week, I can cast and make casting trials. Within 1 week, I can make extrusion trials on world-class level, of course, AM. We know each other because we have a big focus on additive manufacturing for quite a year. And this is a big asset. I wouldn't say one of the last assets, but one of the big assets we have in Germany that even we can expand where we know where the infrastructure is. And the third one with Citrine. Yeah, we appreciate very much what Citrine is doing. And there are a few others, of course, and Citrine is one of the better ones, definitely, clearly. They have a certain different approach. They come with some kind of a puzzle of a couple of machine learning models, and you could put them together like you want, because you are a material scientist, material developer. This is a platform that's not only dedicated to innovation, but it's to knowledge. They actually opened their, I forgot the name, their research GPT at the same day we released MathGPT. So it's a good race. I know the US very well. We are quite well connected to the West Coast, UC Irvine, where the materials community is, industrial materials community is. We're a member of this, and we believe we are especially here better.
Thank you.
Sorry, one final question. Obviously, AI is all about the data, and the data should be continuously, captured and also trained or creating RAG, and then that cycle is very important because not just one-off, right? It should be continuous sort of a running process and data gathering. I could not get that part from your presentation. So what's your mechanism to gather data from different angles?
Due to these 5 minutes, I left out a very nice slide that shows that we have built a global science ecosystem within the past 15 years. Starting with, of course, a couple of Fraunhofers, Helmholtz institutions, Max Planck institutions, going to the United States. Last week I was at MIT. Let's see what comes out. But even Utah, of course, being in contact with A-Star, just talking to Guillermo from IHPC about it and ARTC about it. So we are big friends of science. And we believe that this is going to be a platform where other experts of materials knowledge feeds in their knowledge and via blockchain get licenses through use of others. So we democratize knowledge, we make it accessible, and actually we overcome the hurdle of converting investment in science into value to any society.
Thank you. Another round of applause for Henning, please. Thank you very much. And we do see a lot of very interesting questions coming from the judges, so I'm also excited to see what the other startups have to bring. Now, next up, we have Pelagus 3D. And Pelagus 3D is an on-demand manufacturing partner for the maritime and offshore industry. A joint venture company of ThyssenKrupp and Wilhelmsen, Pelagus 3D leverages on additive manufacturing to ensure the availability of on-demand spare parts. Now, with their global partners, a secure digital Pelagus platform, and 3D design expertise, Pelagus 3D is focused on enabling partners to deliver spare parts on demand to their end users with minimal interruptions in operations and to the highest level of quality. So I know Caleb's waiting for me now. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming the CEO of Pelagus 3D, Caleb Ong.
Thank you. Welcome to the world of offshore production and maritime. And what we see here is that uptime is critical for these business operations. And you can see on the right-hand side why that's the case, right? In this particular segment, time is money. Every day that you have a downtime, that represents millions of dollars for a lot of these large operators. So, for them to mitigate this, what they do is that they carry a lot of spare parts. These spare parts are stored in warehouses. It takes up a lot of space, takes a lot of money, a lot of liability, a lot of these costs because they are risks carried by these operators. What parts to stock, what's the stocking levels, these essentially is an entire science in itself. But what if some of these parts can be additively manufactured? And we know that this can happen already, right? We've seen that in the aerospace side of the picture, 15 years, this has been done. We know, and I don't have to actually prove a lot of this, that we have these parts in operation. So what we're trying to do is actually essentially take that technology and apply it to the offshore and maritime sector. And this sector is a very lucrative sector. If you look at the maritime equipment as well as the oil fuel equipment market, these are spare part equipment on an annual basis. You're looking at about $348 billion that are spent on this. And so when we put a conservative 8% for the parts that can be additively manufactured, which is a relatively conservative number, we still end up with a very significant addressable market for us. And this is why Pelagus came into being. It's a love child between ThyssenKrupp and Wilhelmsen. Wilhelmsen is one of the largest maritime services company. 1 in 2 commercial maritime vessels is serviced by Wilhelmsen. And so we had identified that this particular need is something that can be addressed, but it requires a combination of expertise and exposure to both of these, understanding of the maritime and offshore sector, as well as additive manufacturing engineering possibilities. So what we do is very unique, right? We address this by first going to the end users, understanding what are these exact spare parts, their procurement data. We take that in and we analyze that, and basically we can build up a model of understanding through analytical means for the equipment manufacturer. So by the time we get to the equipment manufacturer, there's already an understanding of what parts are viable, what parts should they be looking at, what parts would be beneficial for both parties. And this is the key problem that exists in additive manufacturing today. And when you talk about why is it that the uptake is so slow, you don't have this cycle. So Pelagus is uniquely positioned in this ecosystem in order to be able to do both of this. What we offer is AI-assisted part targeting. So it is not completely AI. We have humans in the loop, but essentially we require this because a lot of procurement data we get often incomplete, very messy, different languages. So we take the AI modules and we use that to categorize, backfill, clean up. And then we identify these parts with our team of in-house experts that are comprised of AM experts around the world, have been in service bureaus, have been design engineers, heads of designs in equipment manufacturers. And then we developed what Hardik was talking about, basically a digital fulfillment platform. But it says more than that. It's a central database, it's a quality management system, it provides full traceability to a part, such that if anything were to happen, we understand and we can trace individually for high criticality components. Couple that with a network supplier that we have curated that is global in nature. So what we do is that they are not just powder bed fusion, they are not just WAM, they are not rapid casts, they are basically a whole complete spectrum of manufacturing suppliers that we require. So this is essentially an example of what we get. We get 50,000 lines of these types of things, right? Where it basically makes no sense. And then we convert that to valuable insights where we look at what is the potential for an OEM in terms of the parts that can be additively manufactured. And so with that, then we can go to them with a very strong proposition as why is it that it makes sense for you to do this. Kawasaki is one of our strong supporters, and we've been working with them, and we continue to do this. And these are some examples of parts that we have already successfully delivered on, and we will be doing more of this as we expand our business activities. This is the ecosystem that we have currently, and we will be in the acceleration phase of our build-up in the next 3 years. So what we are right now is that we are a revenue-generating business. We're entering the scale-up space right now with our parents' support, but we are seeking for additional investments, primarily to scale up in terms of sales, business development, not much in the CapEx side of the picture. And we are also, of course, looking for any strategic benefits that can come from this collaboration that we could have with the esteemed judges over here. And with that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now opening the floor to judges for questions.
Thank you. Maybe just a first question on the last point, which is your raise. Given that it's a ThyssenKrupp Wilhelmsen joint venture, why do you guys need to raise with external capital?
Well, I think nowadays what we have is that we have, I think the Norwegians are a very pragmatic people. But I think more importantly, it is that we are looking for investors that could be strategic partners to us, that more than just the cash, also brings an element of where it could be a means for us to accelerate this market adoption. As we pointed out, what we are seeing here is that it is not just enough that a highly competent, technically skilled facility goes and says, "Ta-da! I can make the part." You actually need to get the equipment manufacturers to come to the party. And again, it's not that simple. The relationship is very complicated in this sense. There are vested interests. There's a tension that's always there between supplier and provider, of which if we are able to have other parties come on board, based on their networks, to enable this dialogue to happen and facilitate for this adoption, I think this is what it is that we are hoping to see more of. I think we could see a lot of horror stories happening where a few years back where you have 3D printing companies announcing with huge enthusiasm that they've already signed these contracts with equipment manufacturers, and then things don't go well because typically, there is a lot of vested interest in place that maybe either serve as obstacles or delay the adoption of this. So this is what we are trying to avoid with these partnerships.
I would expect you to answer that you're doing a management buyout.
We can talk separately, but that's not the idea. Yeah.
Well, I think this space itself is very predictable in terms of the supplies, isn't it? Because in this whole maritime logistics, I was told that nowadays the supply chain in terms of supporting all these parts are pretty much in excess.
It depends on who you talk to. If you talk to the OEMs, of course they will say that. But I think the true picture is that you cannot stock 100%. Right? If you were to do that, then you're leaving money on the table. That means that your operations, your business, there is no efficiency if you're stocking 100%. And for the parts that you don't stock, especially with an aging maritime fleet, there are 60,000 maritime vessels, of which about half of these vessels are 15 years and older. So when you don't stock any of these and they run out of these spare parts, guess what happens? Basically they either go to the gray market or they say, okay, I'm not going to use this, and then I'll just basically cannibalize and then we'll just live with it. So I think what is happening is that as we face this aging fleet problem, you do end up with more of a requirement for this to happen. And so this is really an issue that is very much well understood in the supply logistics side of the picture.
What is the cost difference?
The cost difference, sometimes it is at equal cost. Sometimes there is a factor, maybe 1.5 times. I think Hardik can back up some of these numbers. But from a total cost of ownership perspective, I think we are definitely much more preferable. So if I talk about the downtime that you could face with this particular part not being available, then they're more than willing to pay for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, judges, for the question. Any last ones for Kenlip and Pelagus 3D? If not, thank you very much, Kenlip. Please give him a round of applause. Now, coming right up, we have Qarbotech. Now, Qarbotech has developed a biocompatible organic compound similar to chlorophyll. It's been very long since I last said this whole word. Okay, crisis solved. What was I saying? Yes, they have developed a biocompatible organic compound similar to chlorophyll that integrates with chloroplast when applied to leaves. Now, by optimizing photon conversion and electron delivery, the solution aims to accelerate the rate of photosynthesis and boost plant growth and yield. Now, to introduce us to their solution, let's welcome co-founder and CEO, Cho Chi-ho.
Thank you. Climate change is already raiding our fields and impacting the livelihood of smallholder farmers. For instance, El Nino causes plant to experience heat stress, while prolonged monsoon season causes insufficient sunlight to the plant, and all this limit the true potential of food crops. In Southeast Asia, 100 million smallholders are impacted, and that's equivalent to a 40% drop in crop production and equivalent to a loss of USD $35 billion of revenue annually. And at Qarbotech, we do have a solution for that. The secret or the science is in the leaf. So photosynthesis is a process where plants absorb inputs, for example, sunlight, water, nutrients, and even carbon dioxide to churn out sugar and oxygen. And sugar is what causes plant growth. And this process is not that efficient because only 2% of light energy is being captured. And our product, quantum dots, it's a liquid powerhouse. It's with carbon quantum dots in our product, and it mimics the chlorophyll light property. So under UV light, it shines blue. Let me show you. So this is water. It's transparent under the UV light. And our material under UV light, it has this blue photoluminescent property. And because of this property, it managed to help the plants to capture additional light energy for more efficient photosynthesis, utilizing the ultraviolet range of light in which the plant by nature cannot utilize. And with this improvement in light energy absorption, the improvement in photosynthesis rate could be as high as 100%, which is unprecedented. And we are talking about scalable sustainability because with just 250 grams of bio-waste such as coconut husk, empty fruit bunch, or even rice husk, we can convert it into our quantum dot solution and increase the crop production for 1 hectare of farm. So our early adopters are mainly smallholders. They are using our product on vegetable, fruits, and these are some of the testimonials from them. So we are not only increasing the crop production, but also crop nutrition. By enhancing photosynthesis, we are talking about also increasing the nutritional values. And in this case, leafy vegetables rate with our solution has higher vitamin A and vitamin C. So in short, we are helping farmers to increase their crop yield, increasing drought resilience of their crop, even increasing higher CO2 removal rate through enhanced photosynthesis. We are talking about a leap in farmers' income. And commercial field trial across 2 growing seasons in multiple locations in Malaysia, we have seen 20 to 50% improvement in the tonnage or the rice yield. And that's equivalent to an increase in net income for farmers per hectare per season by about USD $345. So we are almost doubling the smallholder income. And because definitely they need to buy our product, agricultural input, so that's an additional input cost of $65 per hectare per season. But the net income increase is still very decent for this farmer. It's about 5 times of the ROI. And for chili, we have made the plant even more resilient toward disease due to enhanced photosynthesis. As you can see, the treated plot is still attacked by the disease, but it's not a total loss as compared to the control plot. So currently, we are focusing in the markets in Malaysia and in Indonesia, and we are having the ambition to scale our product and technology across Southeast Asia. So our business model is simple. We manufacture and our partners distribute our product to farmers. And quantum dots is an advanced material. And because of our lean and very cost-effective manufacturing process, we can make the price very competitive. Just by $8 per liter, we are able to improve the yield by the farmers. So we are talking about a price that is competitive to other fertilizers in the market. And these are some of our customers, distributors, and also partners in Malaysia and in Indonesia. So they are using our product in food crops, commodity crops, and even on microalgae. So we can produce our quantum dots using chemical method and of course using biocompatible method. And our focus is definitely in this biocompatible method by upcycling agro waste into quantum dots. And we are the first in the world by upcycling this agro waste into quantum dots.
And your time is up.
Okay.
Yeah, this wrap up.
Thank you. Yeah. So the founder and chief scientist of Qarbotech is Prof. Dr. Shraya, and she has 2 decades of experience working with this kind of advanced material. And for myself, I grew up as an asthmatic child, and I value clean air. So our technology is not only helping farmer, but can also convert more CO2 and release more oxygen through enhanced photosynthesis by plants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now on to the judges.
Yes.
Donna.
Just a question on the IP.
Yes.
So is the IP around the bioreactor, the agri waste to quantum dot, or do you have IP on the composition? Are the carbon quantum dots of a particular composition? And then thirdly, if they are, have you developed, I guess, other structures around that to protect the entire space, the chemical space?
Yeah, for the bioreactor or the machineries that we use to produce our quantum dots, that's our trade secret. And for our patent, it's on the production process, an acid-free and green process of upcycling agricultural waste into quantum dots. And regarding the composition of our final product, that's also a trade secret. Yeah.
Can you give us a sense of the revenue of the company? What scale you're at now?
Yeah. So in the past 2 years, we are limited by our production capacity. We were producing in the lab, so we can only produce maximum 2,000 liters of our solution per month. So in the last 1.5 years, we have generated about $140,000. So and we have recently secured our seed round of investment. So we are now building our pilot production plant, which can cater for 100,000 liters of production capacity per month. And on our hand, we have some contracts to deliver starting January next year. So we are projecting the annual revenue of $1.8 million next year.
Question: if you're increasing the nutritional value of plants, it means you're increasing certain processes and chemicals. Would you also accidentally increase like toxicities or certain chemicals that you don't want in the plant at the same time?
Yeah, depending on what types of plants that you are talking about. So we work closely with a lot of testing agency in Malaysia to test that whether there are any other compounds or elements are also increasing. So for example, in the leaf vegetable that you have seen just now, we have tested for other increase in other elements. So far, we have only seen the glucose content is higher and also the vitamin A and C.
Got it.
Yeah.
And is there any concern that some of this leaks out into the environment and obviously impacts the environment negatively?
Yeah. So our quantum dot is carbon based, so it's made of carbon agricultural waste. So we have done like a non-toxicity test on our material. Yep. So these are some of the tests that we have completed. So even it leaks to the environment, it will become like the carbon structure in the environment itself.
So is the product regulated, or this is this is a characterization assessment, right? But where's the regulatory approval?
So in Malaysia and in Indonesia, we are regulated under the biostimulant category. Yeah, but for other regions and other geographical areas, we are still working on the regulatory approval.
Have you done any human testing if someone were to just drink this or eat this?
On human, not yet, but we have done it on zebrafish and also white rat. Yeah.
What are the next crops that you think you are going to target?
So we have tested on rice, we have tested on corn, leaf vegetable, fruiting vegetable. Currently, we are working on durian trees and also palm oil. And also, we have received an LOI from a hemp growing company from Australia. So we are going to test that as well.
Everybody needs bigger durians.
Thank you very much, judges, for the question. Any last ones? If not, thank you very much. Please give him a round of applause. And special thanks for letting me say photosynthesis after such a long time. And now we have our second last presenter of today from REVIVO Biosystems. Now, REVIVO Biosystems pioneers advanced claim differentiation kits powered by its cutting-edge 4D tissue technology. Now, with a state-of-the-art organ-on-a-chip platform and proprietary cell and tissue engineering technologies, REVIVO Biosystems, with an emphasis on age and lesion tissue models, aims to apply its expertise for longevity and healing applications. Now, to speak to us about that, let's welcome founder and CEO, Dr. Massimo Alberti.
Hi. Hello. Hi. Thank you for the invitation. I'm Massimo, CEO and founder of REVIVO Biosystems. At REVIVO, we are redefining the future of the chemical, cosmetic, and pharmaceutical preclinical research by paving the way to a cruelty-free, a more cruelty-free and accurate and efficient industry. Now, what I have here with me is a baby cream. And this kind of products, before they reach the market, they have to be rigorously tested. And you cannot test on babies. And anyway, before you go to human trials, you have to do preclinical testing. And preclinical testing typically involve 2D or 3D cultures or animal testing. And yet there is a very high failure rate, which means that even candidates that pass the preclinical test, they don't really pass and don't make it to after human trials. Companies in this field, they also struggle to have a stronger claim differentiation and reduce cost and time to market. So there is a burden in that sense. There is also the ethical burden, but also importantly, animal testing. We are genetically and biologically different from animals. And yet, more than 100 million animals are tested and used every year in labs tests. There is a tidal regulation moving away from animal testing in the chemical, cosmetic, and pharmaceutical industries, and also consumers are becoming more cautious about this. So what is the alternative? The alternative is to use the gold standard is 3D cell cultures. But these are still simplistic models that rely on static culture. And what does it mean? It means like if you want to test on a skin, for example, it's a bit like testing on a skin without any blood flow under. It's almost like a dying skin, right? So the solution for us that we provide is to combine microfluidics, tissue engineering, cell engineering, and proteomics. I have a microfluidic device with me here. And what we want to do is to provide a kit already functionalized to provide for a particular claim, anti-aging, wound healing, disease studies, that can be loaded in our platform and provide very clear, accurate, and precise results. So the process is that we use human cells, grow them in a microfluidic device, load them in our laboratory instrument, and basically generate data. This data, they are used for then the claim differentiation, for stronger claim differentiations. And we have 3 unique selling propositions, which translate into clear benefit for our clients. Number 1, 4D dynamic cultures provide more realistic results, more realistic models, and therefore more accurate results. Number 2, easy tracking on biomarkers gives insights into the mode of action of the ingredients in a way that is usually not explored. Automated procedures, we provide automation and therefore increase in productivity up to 10 times saving in manpower. So we monetize in 2 ways. We provide testing services on a fee-for-service model. And we also sell our products on our razor and blade models, the laboratory equipment and the kits as a recurring products. Now we have made $500,000 in revenue last year. We are on a path to make it to double it up this year. We are trusted by companies, multinational companies like Fortune 500, like LVMH Research, BASF, Evonik, and we also got Unilever recently. We are distributors in 10 countries so far. We are strong of a patent, which is already granted, trade secrets, proprietary technology, and a set of trademarks. Now, we differentiate from our competitors. Our strength is really barrier tissues, automation of the testing procedures and the tracking of biomarkers, and also providing more realistic models by using this continuous flow on medium. We are planning to penetrate a $6 billion US dollars market. We have started with the cosmetic and skincare industries, but obviously this innovation is very important and will give results also in the pharmaceutical industries. Now we have two stream of revenues. We expect the fee-for-service part to remain a stream of revenues, but the product to become really the big stream of revenues for us. We'll have an inflection point when we will launch our ready-to-use kits, which really makes a difference in the industry. So this is the team that makes this all possible. We have a mix of microfluidic scientists, engineers, biologists, skin researchers, commercial specialists in the team. And we are raising $3 million US dollars to basically do three main things: grow our revenues by expanding the global distribution and setting up a subsidiary in Europe, push into the biopharmaceutical and pharmaceutical market, and launch the anti-aging and wound healing claim kits as a first product. So help us to revolutionize this industry, and happy to get any question from you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Questions from the judges?
I've seen a few other like organ on a chip or kind of can't say it right now, but
microfluidics.
Microfluidics testing devices. How are you? Obviously, it seems like you guys are focused on skincare and tissue. Yeah. Is that the main differentiation from some of these other devices, or is there something else that kind of gives you that advantage over like ones that are looking at cancer therapies, right? Personalized cancer treatments and so forth with the organ on a chip kind of model?
Yes, it's a fair question. We have found, let's say, our entry market into the skincare. The device we have built is particularly fit for barrier tissues that represent a barrier between the inside and the outside of the body, but also internal tissues. So there is it's very focused on, for example, on absorption studies, and most of the drugs, they have to be absorbed either topically or orally, right? And the other thing is, compared to other organ-on-a-chip companies, which we believe they are a bit closer to what we do, they focus mostly on automating the culture process. We have seen that, especially in the skincare market, and we believe this is also applicable to the pharma, there is a need to having a more efficient of the testing procedures, not of the culture part, but the testing procedure downstream and the bioanalysis.
Got it.
And just to, if I can add, another key differentiator is we are going to functionalize these kits with cells which are genetically modified to release the biomarker of interest, which is fluorescent, and in this way provide a very easy and direct way to address a specific claim.
Have you guys looked at kind of the blood-brain barrier membrane as a?
Sorry.
If you guys are doing membranes and understanding that, like, what about the blood barrier?
Yes.
Blood-brain barrier. I
Yeah.
can't talk right now.
Yeah. So right now we have focused on the skin. We have an oral mucosa model, a gingival model. We want to go into the gut next year. And the other two models that are very critical and very important, you suggested, is the blood-brain barrier and liver.
Any other questions from the judges? If not, thank you very much for the presentation. Thanks. And finally, we're down to the last presenter of today, Syenta. Now, Syenta is enabling the transition to 2.5 and 3D chiplet stacking to increase the performance of semiconductor chips to meet the growing demand created by the rise of AI. Their processes cut advanced packaging metallization steps by 60% and achieve deposition speeds of up to 100 times faster than traditional methods. All these while simultaneously reducing emissions, waste, and costs. Now, to give us a little more information, please welcome co-founder and CEO of Syenta, Zach Dowse.
Semiconductor chips are the critical technology that is driving the massive growth in AI and now quantum industries. There is a key challenge, however, and that is the performance of these chips is very slowly starting to cap out. And the reason for that is because we are still using 2D architectures for our packaging. And this means that we can no longer continue to place more transistors on these chips to increase performance. At Syenta, we believe that advanced packaging is the future, and 2.5 and 3D chiplet stacking is where the industry is going. And at the heart of this is advanced packaging. Now, what we are doing is we are circumventing photolithography because it is currently one of the slowest processes associated with advanced packaging. And instead, what we are doing is we are using our own patented manufacturing method, which we call localized electrochemical modeling. The key thing here is that we are combining both patterning and deposition of materials into one single additive step. And so the best way to think about this is to actually see it happen. And here we have a die of which, when I play it, you will see a copper seed layer on the surface. What just lowered down was one of our proprietary masks with a pattern of an advanced package feature on top of it. What you're seeing here is us applying a voltage and very rapidly translating the pattern on the mask directly onto the wafer. And what you're seeing now is our team showing you the results of this. So we are able to fabricate redistribution layers, micro bumps, and other very high resolution structures all the way up to 1 micron in resolution for advanced packaging. Now, how our customers use this is as a replacement of the dual damascene copper method. As you can see, we still use the traditional manufacturing seed layer for copper, and we also still use CMP as a post-processing step. However, we are replacing the slow photolithography processes that cost customers many hours to fabricate and also massively expensive, up to $100 million for these tools. How we are starting and what our pathway to market is through fan-out packaging and 2.5D interposers. We are also compatible with the existing silicon-based processes, but as a part of our method, we are also future-proofing our market share by being compatible with future glass and ceramic substrates. Another reason why our customers are very excited about our technology is the energy savings associated with our manufacturing technique. Currently, photolithography is extremely expensive, and for fabs, 20% of their operating costs come from energy. For our method, we are up to 99% less energy intensive because with electrochemistry, we are an inherently Faradaic process. And so metallization costs go rapidly down for these fabs at scale. Currently, we're working with some of the biggest names throughout Taiwan, the US, and even IMEC in Belgium. And most notably, we have just completed a paid project with Applied Materials to develop and proof that we are able to manufacture these components of advanced packaging, including redistribution layers and micro bumps. Additionally, we have also pre-sold our device to an advanced packaging house already. A key thing about why these customers really like our product is because we are not aiming to displace photolithography as a manufacturing technique. Rather, we are actually looking to integrate alongside photolithography. So where photolithography is excellent at creating back-end of line and front-end of line metallization, and it is too slow for packaging, we have built a bespoke solution that sits alongside that. So currently our market pathway to market is, as I mentioned, through fan-out wafer-level packaging and 2.5D interposers. The reason why we have selected this pathway to market is because this is the hottest section of the advanced packaging industry right now. Everybody is looking to solve the bottleneck that photolithography is creating to manufacture advanced packages such as CoWoS and others. We are a team of 20 people currently in Australia, and we are comprised of materials engineers, engineers that build mechanical systems before, and also business people. And we are lucky to have an excellent support board that is advising us on our pathway to market. Currently, we are here because we are expanding and we are about to close our latest financing round. And we are expanding not only to the US, but also into Singapore as well. And if you are interested in what we are doing, please come and speak to us later. Thank you, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you.
Could you shed some light how difficult is this, and also who else is doing this?
Yeah, totally. The process itself is a combination of 3 different things, and that also ties into our IP. So the electrochemistry, and so this is that stamping process you saw, the materials, and also the mask. What makes us unique is that we are doing all 3 of those at once. And other people have tried independently to do one of those features, and we focus on all 3.
What are the limitations in terms of size? And what are the limitations today, and that may break tomorrow?
Yeah, totally. So with our method at the moment, we have proved this method as a proof of concept in the lab down to 500 nanometers. So that's what we can do today. Really because of the space we're targeting for reliability, and it's important for the semiconductor ecosystem to have reliability, we are sitting squarely in that kind of between 1 to 10 micron range, which is right on packaging.
Maybe 2 questions. One is, does this require a change in the value, change upstream in the industry? And the other is the capital intensity of the scale up for, 2 questions.
Yeah, great questions. So the first part of it, we were worried about that as well. And actually one of the proof points was that a lot of the end user manufacturers were actually excited about having a solution like ours, because it meant that they were able to repurpose their existing photolithography tools to building the much higher value back end of line and front end of line metallization. So they saw excellent value at being able to bring in a new tool to solve their bottleneck problems, but now they also are able to use their $50 million tool for what it was meant for. And your second question, sorry, was how capital intensive is it? So we have pre-sold our first unit for $7 million. Our bill of materials is around 1.5 at the moment. The scale up, however, we are a company that is very driven by having tools that are used. So we will attempt to drive a lot of our scale up through sales and other revenue. And the other element of this is not only do we provide the tools, but we also provide the mask and the materials as well. So we will be making recurring revenue for any users of our tools to help facilitate that scale up.
Maybe this is a kind of dumb question, but if you look at the chipset market, ARM architecture is everywhere. ARM is very important. If we want to sell this technology to ARM ecosystem, who will be the buyer of this technology?
Yeah, great question. So two major elements that we have discovered through our customer conversations, most notably actually from Semicon Taiwan. There are a lot of 2D packaging providers that really want to move into the 2.5D space. And they are willing to put money towards new tools that enable them to do this. However, they can't afford a $150 million price tag from ASML, for example. So that is a really important market for us, and one that we have have proofed already. And the other element of this is, as I mentioned before, is existing fabs that want to firstly repurpose a lot of their EUV and DUV machines, but are also looking to unbottle the current production constraints on advanced packaging, such as TSMC, but also a number of others. For example, in the US, SK Hynix is another one of these.
I see. Okay.
Any other questions from the judges? No? If not, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Please give
Thank
him a round of applause. All right, and with that, we conclude the pitching sessions for SIF 2024. Can we give a round of applause to all our startups today? Now, for the next 20 minutes, while we enjoy and relax over tea, we'll leave the difficult job of deciding who the 3 winners will be to the judges seated over here. So please do come back at 6:15 as we'll be revealing the results then. So please enjoy, and we'll see you then.